So beautiful. So that song, Amazing Grace, we all know it, right? That's like one of the most well-known hymns. One of the things that I find really interesting about the song Amazing Grace, nowhere in that song does it say God. Nowhere in that song does it say Jesus. Nowhere in that song does it connect with any particular religion, and yet all of us seem to know that there is this power, this presence, this amazing grace that on those days when we know we fell short, we weren't our best and highest selves. I don't know, sometimes there are days like that. It's nice to know, isn't it, that there is one power, one presence, that power of grace, that power that is love, and that we, at any time, no matter what is happening in our life, that we have access to that grace, and also that we, at any time, can give that grace to each other when we align with Spirit. Isn't that a beautiful thing? So, I think that's transformation. That's what we are about here at Unity of Dallas, transforming lives. Are you up for a little fun this morning? A little transformational experience this morning? Anyone like, yeah, transform my life today? Yeah. You're like, maybe. So this morning, I asked for 2 volunteers this morning, and I reached out to 2 members of our congregation. I want to welcome them up. Al Mahesh said yes. Michael Martinez said yes. Come on up, guys. Give them a round of applause. Woo-hoo. Yes. Here they are. So look at them go. Thank you so much. So I'm going to have you stand right over here. They said yes. And when I said, hey, I need a couple volunteers. Can you help? Michael said, it depends on what it is. And I didn't tell you, and you still volunteered. So they don't know why they're here. But what I want to share is that today is a very special day at Unity of Dallas, because today is the finals for the World Championship, a match of what I call win as much as you can. So this is how the game works. We are going to, so on this side of the congregation, your job is to keep an eye on Al and see how many points he can get. How many points can Al win? We're going to do 2 rounds. After the first round, you can coach him a little bit and see if you can get him to do a little better the next round. On this side of our sanctuary, your job is to keep an eye on Michael. Keep an eye on Michael. Keep track of how many points he wins. And, we'll have, the rotation. You'll have a chance to coach Michael so that maybe round 2, he does a little better. Sound good? All right, so let's cheer for our guys. So for Al's team, you know what you're doing? Give Al a round of applause. Yes. And for Michael's team, you know what you're doing? Give him a round of applause. Okay, all right. So here's how the game works. So first, don't hurt each other, okay? That's like rule number 1. Okay, rule number 2, put your finger up like this, and then turn to each other, and you're gonna connect like this, so you're pointing at each other. So you're gonna connect with each other like that, so you're pointing at each other. There you go. Okay, so the way you get a point is when I say go, you will take that pointing finger, and if you can touch Al's shoulder, if you can touch Michael's shoulder, then you get a point. We're gonna see how many points you can get in 30 seconds. Are you ready? Mark, set, go. 30 seconds. Be counting. How many points? Don't hurt each other. Don't hurt each other. All right? Are we out of bounds? Okay, so stay over here. Stay over here. And we have 5 more seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so stop. Give them a round of applause. Well played. Are you okay? Are we all right? Are we good? We didn't damage anything. Okay, so how many points did Al get? None. How many points did Michael get? None. Okay. Well, that was round 1. Next round, 15 seconds. What coaching do you have for Al or for Michael? Remember, the goal is to get as many points as you can. Aaron, do you want to join? So,
let him touch you, and then you get to touch him.
Let him touch you, he says. Let him touch you, and then exchange. That was the coaching. Yes, Jade? Work together to get as many points as you can. All right, any coaching? Good ideas. You gonna try it again? Okay, so get ready. You've got 15 seconds, half the time. We'll see if we can get more points. On your mark, get set, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Can you get where we're going? Give them a round of applause. Woo! Thank you, guys. That was good. That was good.
Good game.
Good game. Good game. So, yeah, that's what you call transformation right there. That is the transformational power of a new thought, a new paradigm, a new way of seeing things. We live in this world where oftentimes we think it is me and it is you. And if I don't get my way, if you get your way, I don't get my way. And, you know, there's a lot of polarity in the world right now. You notice that? There's a lot of that going on. So what if there is a third way? What if there is another way of looking at things that actually allows us all to win more? You know, sometimes when we get into this me versus you, we think that we're going to win more, but the way to win is by working together. So in the book Christian Healing, Charles Fillmore writes this: we connect our soul forces with whatever we center our love upon. If we love the things of sense and materiality, we are joined or attached to them through a fixed law of being. So how many of you like to win? I do. I do. I mean, come on. How many of you like to be right? I do. I really, really like to be right. How many of you love more than that? Connection, relationship. There's a greater love, right? There's a greater love. So as much as I like to be right, as much as I like to win, there is a much greater part of me that loves to connect. So Charles says, if you love things of sense or materiality, you're joined to them, we get attached to them. If all we care about is being right, being the winner, we get stuck and we end up not winning any points at all. Does that make sense? All right. So years ago, when my daughter Jenna was about 12 months old, she was about 1 year old, my husband and I had one of those come to Jesus moments that we almost didn't figure out. What happened was we were living down in the hill country in Texas. We'd been there about 5 years. And my husband came to me one day and he said, I can't do this anymore. He said, he's from upstate New York. He spent 5 summers in Texas. And he's an outdoorsy guy. He was melting. He was just, I could see him just melting. And he's like, I don't know, I can't do this anymore. We need to go somewhere else. We need to move. And for me, I had just spent 5 years building this beautiful spiritual community in Wimberley. I loved Wimberley. I'm from Texas. I'm like, this isn't hot. You want hot? You know, the hill country, that's cool and relaxing. So I'm like, this is amazing. Why would I ever want to leave this? I don't want to go. I've spent too much time building this. And so we had this impasse. Well, I want to go. Well, I want to stay. Well, I want to go. Well, I want to stay. And so where do you go with that? And then we've got a 12-month-old baby. Where do you go with that? What if there's a third way? What if instead of it's him getting his way or me getting my way, what if there is a third way? That third way is the way of the Creator. The third way is when we create something new together that would not have existed if we had not had that tension between us. Does that make sense? So I've always considered that there are 3 kinds of thought. There are observations, so you look out the window and I have the thought, it's raining, or it's not raining, or it's, there's a tree, or there's a turtle, or whatever it is. I have observations and that processes through my mind as a thought. And as soon as I have that thought, what tends to happen is another thought called a judgment. So I see the rain and I'm like, ooh, I hope it's not raining now because people are going to get soaked. I have this judgment. Rain's bad right now. Let it rain later. So I see something, I observe something, and then boom, I judge it. And that's good. That's how our brain works. We see things, we figure out if it's good, if it's bad, what does it mean to us? We do that all the time. The problem is we get stuck there. We stop there. We see things, we judge it. We see things, we judge it. We see things, we judge it. This is what happened, that's good. This is what happened, that's bad. Judging, 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 judging. And if that's where we stop, we end up in this trying to get to that win and never really getting there. But there's a third way, and that is moving beyond the judgment into a creative idea. That's the third type of thought, is we have ideas. So I can look out the window and I can see it's raining, and I can say, oh, that's not good because people are coming in the church, they're going to get drenched, that's my judgment. I have an idea, let's give the greeters some umbrellas. I have an idea that comes from that judgment, and then we act on the idea. When you move through the judgment into the idea, now you're creating something different. Now we've broken through that into this place where there's a win-win. We can create something together that is good for everyone. So the way Charles Fillmore writes about this is he says, the Lord commanded Moses to make all things, so to create, the Lord commanded Moses to make all things according to the pattern that was showed thee in the mount. So this mount, according to Charles Fillmore, is the place of high understanding, spiritual consciousness, whose center of action is in the very apex of the brain. It's our imagination. It's our connection to the divine. It's our third eye. It's our Christ consciousness. So God tells Moses, when you want to create something, it doesn't matter what you're trying to create, go to the mount. Go into that higher realm of consciousness. Go to the place where your ideas are and create from there. Don't get stuck in those valleys of judgment, 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 judgment. Go to that higher place. So what if every time we find that we have a problem to solve, or we find that I disagree with, my judgment disagrees with your judgment, what if we use those as opportunities to go into this creative playground together? And here's how you do that. So I want to share with you some tools, a little toolbox that you can take with you, and it can help you move past some of those things that feel like an impasse. Charles Fillmore talks about these 12 powers, these faculties. So we're going to tap into 4 of these faculties. The first one is the power of understanding. And understanding shows up in 3 different ways here. So understanding means understanding the problem first, understanding the desired outcome, and then understanding the context through which we can create, the framework for that creation. So we start with understanding the problem. A lot of times we're solving problems, like here's the problem, but that's not the real problem. Sometimes we just jump into judgment and we jump into action to solve a problem that isn't really even the real problem. Or sometimes we're solving problems together and I think the problem is this, but you think the problem is that. We're not even solving the same problem together. Have you noticed that? So the first step is really understanding what is the problem. I heard a story about a man who lived in California on the outskirts of town, and he was in a neighborhood where people had dogs, and the dogs were getting picked off by coyotes. People's dogs were going missing because they had coyotes in the neighborhood. And so all the neighbors rallied together, what are we gonna do to get rid of these coyotes? And so they looked at, how do we mitigate? How do we, relocate? How do we eradicate the coyotes? And everything they would try wouldn't work, wouldn't work, wouldn't work. And finally someone said, well, the problem, what if the problem isn't really the coyotes? What if the problem is really we want to keep our dogs safe? And so then the strategy changed. Well, it's like, what could we do to keep our dogs safe? Well, let's keep them on a leash. Let's only have them out during certain times of the day. Let's make sure that we're with them all the time. They changed their behavior with their dogs. And guess what? When the dogs were protected, after a couple weeks, the coyotes went away. Sometimes we're just solving the wrong problem. So the first step is making sure that we're solving the right problem. In the Bible, in the book of Luke, there's a story where Jesus is passing through and there's a blind man begging on the side of the road. And when Jesus comes by, he's like, Lord, help me, help me, help me. And Jesus asks him, he doesn't just go and heal the guy. Jesus says, what do you want me to do? Because here he is, begging on the side of the road for money. So what he's saying is, I need money. I need money. I need money. But that's not really the problem. That's not the real problem. The real problem is he wants to see. So Jesus says, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to put some money in there, or do you want me to heal you? And he says, I want to see. And he was healed. So Jesus was smart enough to know, let someone identify what is the real problem that we're solving before we go and have our miracle moment, have our healing. Okay, so think about that when you're in relationship with someone. If we get stuck, sometimes the first thing to do is get really clear, are we solving the same problem, and are we solving the right problem? Once we do that, then the next thing to do is to look at what is the desired outcome. So understanding the problem is, I have this observation. I'm observing there's this situation that's creating something that is not wanted. So then we move into that apex. We go to the mount. We go to that higher place in consciousness. So once we go into that higher place of consciousness, that's where we can see, what is the desire when this problem is resolved? What is the ultimate vision of what we are trying to create? So often when we're down here, it's here's the problem, and we just try to attack the problem without really letting that problem let us identify what is the bigger vision that we're really going for. And that requires ideas, it requires imagination, it requires visioning. So, it's like Moses in the promised land. First thing is we got this issue with we're in bondage and we want freedom. But it wasn't just about we don't want to be in bondage anymore. There was a vision of this land of milk and honey. And that vision, once they figured out, here's the problem, we want to do something, but what's the vision that we're moving towards? And it was that vision that moved them forward. So that's the second step. So first we understand what's the problem, what's the desired outcome, and then we look at, okay, so here's the vision. What is the framework within which I can create? I originally thought, what are the limitations? Because sometimes when we look at our creations, we always see here's what I can't do. It's I don't have the money, or I don't have the time, or, it has to be here, or it has to be there. What are the parameters around your creation? And I don't like to see them as limitations, because really you could use this with any limitation and bust through it. But if you look at, okay, this is the framework. We're building a community together. It's here in Dallas. What are the things that we could do here in Dallas to bring people together? So you could say it's a limitation, but I think it's giving us a place to create. The actor Jim Carrey, who I love, he talked once, he's a comedian, and when he was doing comedy, he said it was always helpful when sometimes he had a huge stage and he could do absolutely anything. Whatever the budget is, whatever the technology is, we can do absolutely anything. And he said he could actually be more creative when he was on a small stage where they didn't have the budget, where they didn't have the technology. It caused him to be more creative, and he loved being in that kind of space. So think about Jesus and the 5,000. So we identify there's a problem. People are hungry. We got 5,000 people here and they're hungry. What is the vision? Well, we want them, so I think the disciples wanted them to be fed, but I think Jesus wanted them to be fed. So here's what this group wants. We want them to have food, and Jesus wants them to have food. You know what I mean? So how can we fulfill both of those together? The limitations, the framework, we've got this many loaves, we've got this many fish. This is what we've got to work with. What can you do with that? And so from that understanding of, this is my framework, this is the parameters, now we can go into this faculty of the imagination. So what can you imagine? What could we do with this? So Jesus takes, with the loaves and the fishes, he takes what he has, because that's the vision, right? Loaves and fishes for 5,000. He takes the loaves and the fishes and he lifts it up. It's that apex moment, lifting it into consciousness. He's showing us when we have a problem, focus on what you have and lift it up into that divine consciousness. Because from there, we can tap into our wisdom, and our wisdom is going to give us that guidance for how to act. Fillmore says this. Let's see if I've got it. Oh, sorry, I went too far. I get excited. He says, the Father within you, so lovingly and familiarly revealed by Jesus, is not at a distant, faraway place called heaven. His abode is in the spiritual realms that underlie all creative forces. So he's saying that Spirit of God is within you. That kingdom of heaven is within you. It is that ability to go in the stillness to that place where the solution lives. A new creation that is given to us by Spirit. So That is our process. We go from imagination to wisdom, and then of course when we move into action, the intent in spiritual co-creation is to create from the energy of love, because that is the greatest of these, isn't it? So, what do you think? Do you feel it? Does it sound like fun? When we get out of this mode and into this mode, like, tell me what you see, tell me your perspective, tell me your ideas, tell me the things that you're concerned about. Let's put all that on the table, and then together, let's go into this substance, this space of spiritual consciousness, and discern what is ours to do. And then we decide to do it, and we do it with love. And when we do that, miracles happen. Miracles happen, and it's a lot of fun. So there's a quote, not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it's faced. James Baldwin. Makes sense? Not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed unless it's faced. So we got to bring it to the table. Bring your ideas to the table, and let's create together. That's the invitation. So I was, a few weeks ago, many of you know, I went to this Joe Dispenza retreat, and it was a deep meditation retreat. They're tracking all kinds of physiological, doing blood work and breath work. How is meditation impacting people? How is the retreat impacting people? And one of the studies they did, one of the experiments they did, was on one of their retreats, they brought together buddies. They had a buddy system. And for the people that were being monitored, they had these monitors on 24/7. They would partner someone, a younger person, with a more seasoned person. So there's like 20, 30 years difference. And they would be mentoring buddies. So that was the experiment. Now, they had some groups that were mentored that there wasn't the age difference. But what they found was the people who had the greatest change during that retreat were the people who had a mentoring partner that was multiple decades difference in age. And he said it wasn't that it was always a warm, fuzzy relationship, because a lot of times they would hear people say, I don't get this person. I don't get this person. They make no sense to me. And there would be some of this. But because they were going into these meditations, they were going into this space, there was a learning and a change, a transformation that was happening that was measurable. And that change, that willingness to go into that space and co-create with someone so different actually created a physiological change greater than any others that were in the study. So when we come together, create together, not just with people that are like us, but with people who have different ideas and different ways of seeing things, amazing things can happen. So Charles talks about the power of love. It is the power to create. He says the love current is not a projection of the will. It's not that my way or the highway. This is something different. It is a setting free of a natural, equalizing, harmonizing force that in most persons has been dammed up by human limitation. For a lot of us, it's like, okay, we just have these blocks to that kind of creative energy. But this is a place to melt those blocks. He says, here is a faculty. Love is a faculty existent in every soul, which may be used at all times to bring about harmony and unity among those who have been disunited through misunderstanding, contentions, and selfishness. Love is that power that brings us together. And so he invites us to meditate on love. So let's do that. I invite you to take a deep breath in. And let's meditate on Charles's words. He says, one should make a practice to meditate regularly on the love idea in universal mind. Let us meditate on the love idea in universal mind. And he invites us to pray, divine love, manifest thyself in me. So softly whisper those words, divine love, manifest thyself in me. Together, divine love, manifest thyself in me. He says, then there should be periods of mental concentration on the love center near the heart. And so let's breathe into our heart. Breathe into that love center and feel the awakening of that spiritual gift. Feel the connection to the love that is the divine, the love that is amazing, the love that is grace. We focus our breath into our heart source, into our heart chakras, into the depths of our being. We feel the love of spirit. We know that this is our creative power. And so in every creation, in every relationship, as we move through this human experience, we tap into that power of understanding our own motivations, understanding our own heart, and seeking to understand the motivations in the heart of others. We tap into that power of understanding the desire, understanding the calling, understanding the needs of ourselves and others. And we understand the framework through which we choose to create together. And we celebrate it not as a limitation, but as an opportunity to experience creative energy, knowing that with God, all things are possible. With God, all things are possible. We allow that knowing to guide our imagination. And from that imagination, we discern what is ours to do. What is ours to do? And we do it with love. The energy and the current of love. Let us take this love, focused in our heart, breathing into our heart. Focus on this love as we move into the silence together. Feel how that love connects us. Feel that love not just as your heart, but as the energy of this community. And let us expand our awareness of the power, the presence that is love. And so take a deep breath in. And let's take that love from our heart. I invite you to put your hands on your heart. Allow your hands to be filled with the love that is within you. And then feel that love in the palm of your hands. Feel it opening and growing and building. And then share that love. Share that love with our community. We share our good thoughts, our hopes, our dreams, knowing that there are those in this community that support us, believe in us, trust in us, want us to thrive and succeed. And from the love in our heart, we want the same for them. We hold this space as we direct our loving energy to this prayer box that represents the prayers of all of our community. Prayers spoken and unspoken, written and unwritten. We send our love to every member of this community. And we celebrate that there is one power, one presence working through each and every one of us, working through this community as a collective, bringing forth the power of love, the healing power of love. And so it is. Let us celebrate together as we sing Alleluia.